guys, so today I'm going to be doing a video. It's a video I've been thinking about doing for a little while, and it's kind of the opposite of what I've been seeing people do lately, which is your top 5 most embarrassing unread books. And I'm gonna flip that, and I'm gonna do my top 5 most embarrassing read books. And basically, these are books that I've read, and some of them I've enjoyed, and some of them not so much. But either way, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that I've read them a little bit. It's not like a book that I would advertise that I read. If someone said, have you read a good book lately? I wouldn't recommend these. You don't want to get those weird looks from people. Or maybe you do, but I'm not secure enough with myself to ask for that kind of attention. So this is me kind of making my confessions to you guys, and hopefully you won't judge me too harshly, but whatever. I'm just doing it. The first book that I'm going to mention is the Gossip Girl series by Cicely von Zagesser. Like I said, if someone asked me, have you read a good book lately? I wouldn't say, yeah, I read Gossip Girl. It's really good. Why don't you pick it up? But I do love these books. They have a place in my heart. I first picked them up when I was like 12. And then from there, the series continued on till I was like, maybe like 18 or 19. I read all of them all the way through because I couldn't not. I mean, I would do it in private. It's not the kind of book that I would take out in public and read, but I still stuck with it because the characters in these books, they're so likable and hateable and lovable and hateable. It can be the same character that you love in one book and in the next book you hate them. It was one of the first books that I read and I was like, I don't know if I should be reading this. My 12-year-old brain, it was taking in things that, yeah, I knew about sex and I knew about drugs and I knew about all that stuff, but I'd never read anything that talked so openly about it. And it was eye-opening, and it was something that I would never take back. Like, I loved that I read those books, and I will continue to reread that series. I love it. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews. I think that a lot of people, if not everyone, a lot of people have heard of Flowers in the Attic because of how controversial it was. It follows the story of 4 young children and their mother who are moving from their home to live with their grandparents because their father just died and they don't have any money and they don't have any way to survive, and the grandmother locks them all in the attic. It touched on a lot of things that I don't think YA literature had ever done before. Physical, emotional, spiritual abuse, incest. I actually picked it up a couple years ago, and then I remembered watching the original 1986 or 87 version when I was a kid, and then realizing that the movie didn't touch on all of the dark material that was described in the book. Whenever I hear stuff like that, like the movie, oh, it's nothing compared to the book, whether it's because it's darker or just anything, but usually if it's darker, I want to pick the book up, and I don't know why I am like that. It's a controversial story that I don't think a lot of people would openly admit that they've read and enjoyed, but I'm here to tell you that I did. The next book on my list is called Tampa, and it is by Alyssa Nutting. And the reason that this book was kind of not something I would really openly admit to reading is because of its material. And it's loosely based off of the Deborah LaFay case. This is a case that I'm familiar with because I live in Florida and it took place in Florida, and it was a teacher who had an affair with her younger student. It's loosely based on that, and it's about a woman who becomes a teacher because she is so obsessed with prepubescent boys. And it's one of those books where I'm like, holy crap, did I really just read that? It was disturbing on so many levels, so twisted, and I didn't take much away from it except for disgust. But I will say that the writing was good writing. It was pretty good. If the writer writes something else, I will probably pick it up just to, you know, see what else she can come up with. This was a debut novel, and it was risky. I mean, it was really risky, so I gotta give her props on that one. The next book on my list is Dollhouse by Kim, Khloe, and Kourtney Kardashian. I don't think I really need to say too much more because I just said who the authors were. Honestly, don't remember it too much. It was just very vapid. It was like an episode of The Hills or something, I think. I never watched The Hills, but it's what I imagine it to be. Or an episode of The Kardashians, really. Now I'm thinking about it. So my last most embarrassing book that I've read is definitely the most embarrassing and the most shameful one. And I have a feeling that you guys probably know what I'm gonna say right here, but regardless, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It is 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. I picked up the first one whenever the hype was so big about it, and this was before I discovered BookTube and before I kind of reintroduced myself to YA, and when I was just in a lull and just like trying to find new books to read. But then I picked it up and I was just like, what have I done with my life? There's nothing that I personally really took away from this book. There were parts of it that were kind of entertaining, the way that maybe one of those articles in Cosmo are entertaining, but it's not something that I went on to discuss with people. It's not that kind of book, and it's not, I don't know. But I will just say, I'm glad that I read it, because I read it and I can know that I don't need to read it again and that I don't want to read it again or continue with the series. I'm glad that I picked it up, if anything, just to say that I read it and I can have my own feelings and my own thoughts about it and move on and get on with my life. You know, I talk about how they're embarrassing reads, but no matter what, it's a book, and I think that no matter what, you're going to take something away from the book, whether it be the fact that you hate the book or that you learned something. So despite the title of this video and the premise of it, you're reading books and you're taking something away from it, and you're learning and you're growing as a person and all that stuff. So yes, somewhat ashamed, but on the other hand, I'm gonna rise above it. It happened, it's in the past, I'm moving on now. So in the comments below, you guys can let me know some reads that you might not admit openly to other people that you've read and enjoyed or not enjoyed. Either way, I would love to know. And if you'd like to do a video response to this, I would love that even more. I just think it'd be really cool. Why not just get it off your chest, you know? Just kind of, you know, get it off. All right, guys, so that's all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Penelope out.